day, mates.
There it is. There
It
it
wouldn't be a
is.
show without it.
That awkward moment when you forget how everything works for just a moment.
I wouldn't know anything about that. My track record's impeccable. Well, good day, fine people. Welcome to Tally the Votes, Australian Survivor Brain versus Brawn 2, episodes 21 and 22. And a great big how do you do to my co-hosts, who I would never give a purple edit, David and Christy. Hey, guys.
Hello. Welcome to the penultimate episode.
Penultimate week.
Penultimate
week. Sorry.
It's the penultimate to the penultimate.
Hour. It'll be our
Penultimate episode for this season. It is.
It is. It seems like it has gone.
How is it
fast.
over already?
I know. It's gone so fast this year. It's been a
and then we got to wait a whole nother year, and all we got is stinky U.S. Survivor to watch.
No.
Well, we've got the Australia versus the World drops on June 22nd.
It will be.
I'm trying to temper my enthusiasm for that because I think it's going to be more like reindeer games than it is.
You know what? And it doesn't matter to me. I'm excited to see it. It's something new, and we're going to have New Zealand and South Africa players. Like, come on, that's great. Like, I want to see this.
So, because South Africa is going on right now, are you guys going to jump over and start watching that season once we're done with this? That's my plan because I can't have a show.
Maybe.
Hello, no.
Maybe
I'll do it if you do.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be something to check
maybe
out.
It'll help us prep for World.
Yeah, maybe we'll find a favorite so we have someone to root for.
Yeah, why not?
All right. Yeah. Well, this week we're going to talk about Australia Survivor. There was a lot of paranoia. There was another low fanfare exit, which was awkward and weird. But let's jump into the episode 21, aptly titled House of Cards. So at the very beginning, we've got Morgan and Kate that are left confused. I think they're still trying to figure out how rocks work. I think they're still confused.
And we're day 42 and 43 for this episode.
Yes. Our post-grads are celebrating another victorious tribal, and they figure a split between Kate and Morgan is the logical next move. But Miles is starting to pull away and planning his next move and preparing to break from the four. Which, it's getting there. It's kind of time to start making your endgame plan. AJ talks to Zara about Keelan. AJ believes that Kaylin will take him to the end. And Miles is planning to use Morgan to cut Kaylin. He plans a final two with Zara. So there's a little bit of conversations there. Do you think that... I feel like I can see where taking Zara for Miles is a good plan.
If you could take Zara and Morgan, you win.
Yeah, that's an easy duo to sit next to, I think. Zara would put up a good fight, but ultimately, I don't think she has, especially at this point, doesn't have anything to stand on in comparison to Miles. It doesn't make sense for Zara necessarily, but I can see where it's great for Miles.
When you look at the men that remain, I could make a case for why all three of them deserve to win. Yeah. I mean, Caitlin has set the record in number of challenges won. Miles has set the record for idols played correctly. AJ has played by far the best strategic game, and so. Any one of them, you can't be sure because you don't know what the jury's going to value, right?
See, yeah. I totally agree with that. And I feel like we're kind of an echo chamber of the three of us kind of seeing things through similar lenses. But online, they hate AJ. They think he's the worst, that he's the worst player, that he's played a stupid game. I don't understand this because I think he's done really well.
Here's the thing. I feel like the general Facebook population that watches is pissy about AJ because he threw competitions. But I don't think that these people see throwing a competition as a strategic move, which it is.
It's completely a strategic move and totally fair. They found another way to use another thing in the game in their favor, right?
Exactly.
Like not waiting for a clue to find an idol. You can go look.
I mean, even George has pulled this up. George is considered one of the best players in the franchise. And he's pulled the let's throw the challenge bit.
I truly don't understand it, because I get it. He threw some challenges, but I don't think he's thrown any challenges since. And if that's part of your strategy to not be a threat.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing
I
I'll give the people who didn't like throwing the challenges. He and Ben up there simultaneously throwing the challenges back to TV.
I'm sorry, it was. It absolutely was. It was one of my favorite moments this season.
I'm not usually a fan of that either, but if it plays into your strategy of we need to do this move and it's your plan and you execute it perfectly, then maybe there was a reason for it.
Maybe there was a reason for it. I feel like AJ never threw a challenge that he needed.
Exactly.
So it's not like he did it without knowing what was at stake or what he was doing. And he never threw a challenge entirely on his own. There was always somebody else in cahoots with him.
Come on, because usually Keelan was with them. I mean, that one where they threw it, and so Noonan would go, and Noonan was busting her butt trying to keep the whole team in the game, and they were all throwing it.
I mean, and even one of his closest allies in the game, like they weren't even on the same team, and Miles was like, just keep playing, let's keep going. Who cares if they're throwing it? But I mean, it's made for, like David said, it's made for excellent television throughout the entire season. AJ is really fun to watch. I'm sure he's incredibly aggravating to work with as a partner, in the sense that he wants to keep shifting things as he sees them.
But so does Miles.
But I think Miles is like Miles is like kamikaze. Like, he doesn't care. Because he's played from the bottom for the first half of the game. It gave him the ability to have no fear. Like, I'm just going to do it.
Miles doesn't know that AJ is a poker player, right?
I would assume that they probably know what each other do.
You think? I don't think AJ told anybody, because the amount of times that Miles talked about poker in his confessionals,
because he did a lot.
Yes, so clearly he's also a player, and maybe not professional, but I think it's going to be funny. They're going to be like two Spider-Mans pointing at each other like, oh my God, you play poker? No, you play poker. Wait, you were bluffing me. No, I was bluffing you. I think it's no wonder they're both so strategic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Miles is all numbers, right? So he figures out this, the how likely it is, and thinks, well, if you do this and you move this piece here, well, this person can only make this move. So therefore, that's the only thing
he's not afraid to gamble.
That's why his take hostages thing was brilliant, because he realized it was in his interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. He worked it out. And where there were fumbles, because AJ has played far from a perfect game, but where he has fumbled, he's managed to always roll back on it. And some of the people that were like the most frustrated with him, it still kept him around a couple times when they said, we're going to get rid of him, and they didn't. So
but I think Logan, I don't think she went out bitter at him particularly.
I think it works like this, because AJ always takes time to go and speak to each person, and he'll usually lay out a plan for you. Now, that plan is either the real plan or the plan he wants you to think. But if you go to tribal enough times and the plan he came and told you ended up being what happened, that gains trust in him regardless of who else he's talking to.
Right.
Because you go, oh, he's just talking to everybody, but he's always done the plan he tells me. But the people who are so quote frustrated, I don't think they're frustrated. I think they're exhausted, because I think AJ's the sort of person that is thinking of every single possible like 4-dimensional chess.
What are the scenarios?
Right?
Yep.
Yes, and he needs someone to like tell it to. And I think they're just like, oh my gosh, not another plan. Like, he's going to try and change this again. I think that's where they're at. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, please don't. Because now they have to think of a new one with no food in their stomach. Like, will this work? No.
I totally think you're right. And take it from a guy who has spent his whole life being a little much. I think AJ's a little much. You know what I'm saying? He's just, people are like, enough, dude, back off.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah. I think one of we've probably talked about this, but I think one of AJ's biggest attributes is his ability to tell people what he wants to do and kind of slide it in a way where it seems like they're telling him what they want to do.
Yeah. Yes, he always
He
asks them
kind
what
of
they wanna
watches,
do.
like, he knows when he's about to go, he knows when he was gonna go talk to I'm trying to think of when he was gonna talk to Christy, right? He knows that her number one was Petey, right? So
Kristen,
but it
yes.
doesn't affect him. Petey staying or going at this time doesn't
Yeah.
affect him. So when he brings it up to her, he says, who do you feel like you're the closest to that you absolutely do not want to put down, because I want to make sure we don't get them involved, even though he already knew who it was and that they weren't going to be involved.
Right. And you often hear him say something to the other players, something to the effect of, well, what do you think is best for your game? Like what
Yeah.
you know, like he tells them like he's concerned about their game. He's not concerned. He just wants to know, what do you think about your game? But they'll take it from a place of, oh, they're asking questions about me
Right.
and they care about me.
And what Jamie says too is if you're going to kick out a third person, but you can convince the person you're protecting who they're working with.
Yep.
Even though that person was never in danger.
Yep.
Right.
That's a brilliant play.
Oh yeah,
right?
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The people who are hating on him are 100% wrong, because he absolutely is that outwit player.
Right. We've had
usually
a
the
lot
AU
of
fan
good.
likes a schemer a little bit.
Yeah, we've had some good game players, very different game players, but good game players this season. And we've had a lot of terrible ones. But
you mean like people who don't know what rocks mean?
Well, I don't know who rocks mean, and then they come out wearing an idol in the first hour of the game, or
Yeah, but I forgot
that kind of thing.
Oh my gosh! But the not knowing what rocks is really made some other players.
That's a tough one. That's tough.
Well, you would think when they started talking about it, you'd have gone, JLP, can you explain to me this rock thing? You would think somebody.
I don't think it's that they didn't know it at all. I think it's that they thought something else happened. They were mistaken. So I think they thought they knew, but they did not know.
Yeah, they didn't know what it was. And Logan was going to try to explain it to Kristen, but Kristen got stung by a wasp or a hornet or something right before tribal, and then that kind of took precedence. And then I think what it boiled down to is they had a very generalized idea what rocks meant, but I don't think they realized what rocks meant for them.
Yeah, they thought it meant go into fire, right? And it's like, well, why would that be called rocks? Like,
why did we call it rocks? Well, the challenge was really cut and dry in this episode. They had to swim out, get the ball, like swim under the net with the balls, and then they had that stick and they had to push it up the ramp into the basket.
The old stick and ball.
The old stick and ball ramp gig, Miles was kicking butt. He was trying, and he was so close behind Kaylin, but Kaylin did win.
Oh, it
did give him the number 6 immunity win for the season and the new record. So,
and I'm so glad, because when they had shown that in the previews last week, they did us dirty. They made it seem like it was going to be.
Yeah, made him look so scared.
And then I was like, "Ooh, safe again."
He got it. He won the record.
He got it.
AJ is sensing that Miles might be working with Morgan. He tells Zara and Keelan as much, and he wants Morgan gone. But Zara knows that Kate is ultimately her real threat and pushes for Kate to go. AJ sees that Zara is not willing to budge on this, and so he goes and he tells Kate, it's going to be her. It's going to be Kate. But if she writes down Morgan's name, she might have a chance. And Kate cries and is very upset and says that she simply cannot write down Morgan's name.
I can't.
I just can't do it.
Guys, did you want to smack her?
Yeah, just write her name down.
Like,
tell her. You can tell her all your feelings and you can cry and tell her how upset you are about it.
Over Morgan, really?
But
we'll get there.
You can simply do it. Or you can go home. And that's basically what AJ said. I'm really sorry, but if you don't write her name, it's probably going to be you.
And see, he's helping her because she's not thinking strategically at all. Mm-mm. And so he's going, this is your play. This is the only play you have.
This is how we get you through it. But AJ takes another opportunity to get to Keelan and get Keelan to understand that Kate is actually better for their end game while Morgan is better for Miles's end game. Yeah, I'd say yeah. And I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on that one. And this is why. Because after David had said, "Oh, you should watch the jury villa. They were really nice." And they were really nice to Kate. So maybe actually Kate wasn't better for their game. Because that jury loves Kate.
Mm-hmm.
They love
compared
her.
to some of the other people who went out.
So I don't know. Maybe Kate did have a better rapport with the people that are sitting in jury.
But when they say for Miles's game, I think they were thinking more like Miles needs to use one of the ladies, and AJ's already got Kate locked up, so Miles can't use Kate. Miles had to use Morgan, is how I understood it.
Right, but he wants Keelan to get it that Kate's better for them, really better for AJ.
Right,
and Morgan's better for Miles. So if you don't want Miles to go with the final 3 over you, because he'll take Morgan and not you.
But all you have to really do is tell Keelan someone's is talking about voting for him.
Yeah, doesn't take a whole lot. Doesn't take a whole lot for him, as long as it, okay, keeps me here another day. He's comfortable with it. Zara and Keelan both are getting frustrated with AJ as he cannot just cut Kate. And when Zara talks to Miles, he makes it pretty clear that he would cut Kate. And he asks Zara if she wants Keelan gone at 5. All right. Yeah. Okay.
But she doesn't care. She doesn't care if Keelan, because it's the thing that AJ keeps forgetting. She doesn't care if Keelan goes at 5. That's not her main priority. Her priority is, I need to get rid of Kate because Kate
is my number one competition.
I can't beat Kate.
And I think that Zara sees,
that was just a big flashing red light for Zara. She wasn't going to see anything else until that was taken care of. And
I think Zara sees her end game like she knows that, one, because she doesn't have immunity yet, hasn't had the immunity yet. She knows that she's got to be able to have something in her for her resume. Resume. She's got to have something on there, to face jury if she makes it to final 3. But in order to get to final 3, I think she feels like she is going to have to earn herself the spot at final 3 that no one's going to take her. So getting rid of Kate in her mind is the only way of that happening, because Kate is the only one she is afraid can out-endurance
they'll take
her.
with it before her, yeah.
So, and again, I had one thought of some of this until that jury villa, where I was like, oh my God, they really love her. So, again,
but I don't know that they would have. I mean, yes, they loved her, but I don't know that they would vote for her to win over, say, one of the guys.
It depends if they really don't like the other person, because we've seen that.
Yeah.
We've seen the better player not win.
Yes, we've seen the bitter jury, but
they say like, they tell. But
we've all seen the Erica season, right?
They told her that they were Survivor. They were rooting for
her. I feel like the Aussies do a better job of, like, if this is a game, who played the game the best.
But that's what I'm saying. They all told her they were rooting for her above everyone else.
Well,
they wanted her to win.
She was the underdog.
I mean, was she? Was she really an underdog, though?
As the last Brawn, and like,
I mean, there's that, but I mean, like, she held her own in competitions. She had a decent.
Now you're gonna try and convince me to like Say too. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry.
No, Kate. But I mean, when they tell you, when you go to the jury and that jury has been picking people apart left and right, and they say to you, we actually wanted you to win above all of these flashy players, above the guy who's won the record, we wanted you to win. That tells me that they might not be really supportive. Like, they're going to vote for AJ.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but I also feel like some of that is lip service. She's not still in the game. She's out now.
I could see Logan and Laura voting for a girl or a woman just to vote for a woman.
Maybe.
Absolutely. Because they wanted to do the girl alliance. I could see that.
Well, and they're just so annoyed. I think
So wait a minute. Wouldn't that mean that the Girl Alliance was
It
successful
would
if they all if they
if-
band together to vote one woman?
if
So you're saying there's
So
a chance.
There's a chance. They stick together.
I feel like
Even
this
when
is
they're
in the
out of the game.
98%. I'm
Yes,
pretty
yes.
safe.
Well, Morgan and Kate have had a little conversation. You know, it's an emotional moment. Morgan is telling Kate, piss them off and send me home. Or we could write down Miles. So good. Okay. Morgan's like figuring out like there's still a chance. Maybe there's still a chance. There's not really a chance, but she's going to try. Let's see here. So, okay. We're going to go into tribal because I don't think there's a whole lot more for us to say on that one.
No.
The jury enters, and I have to say that Polly looked hot. He looked amazing. He was so
But
sassy.
looks pissed. He's so mad.
I don't care. It's because he gets out there. He's very vogue. He's just voguing. He's just voguing for the camera, David.
He's
He
very
just-
saucy though. He can be very
Yes.
snappy, very angry, very bitter.
Yes,
too.
he can be a salty sass for
Mhm.
sure. Miles says that he's not too worried about Keelan's immunity run. It doesn't intimidate him. He's not too concerned about it. And JLP announces that tonight we're going to do something a little different. And by a little different, I mean the same thing
I thought
that
it
we
was going to
do
be a non-elimination.
Yeah,
it
the
was
same thing
throwing
we
shit at
do
the screen.
every season at least once. There's one more chance for individual immunity. So
What did you guys
they're-
think? Did you say below?
I mean, like, you know what? I didn't call meh about them doing it because they just do it every season. I called meh on him saying, we're going to do something a little different.
Okay. Do
Because
they always
it's
do it
not.
at this point?
See,
Do
I
they
didn't
always
think
do it
about
at-
the second chance for immunity. I thought they were going to do a non-elimination episode, and I was going to be mad.
Oh, that's David's
Yeah, no, he
worst
said
nightmare.
immediately someone will be leaving tonight. But I just felt like all this did was help AJ. They knew what they were doing. Production knew. They set up a game that Kate would win. Come on.
I mean, were they? I mean, yes, they could have been helping AJ, but maybe they were helping Kate because apparently she's loved by everybody, and we didn't see that.
You're right. But it just seemed like from like the editing standpoint in the background, it's like, man, after we see him all afternoon trying to figure out how
And by the way,
Yeah.
Kate
save her and
beat
send Morgan.
Kate. There was a controversy on this. Because Kate beat Zara by like a second.
Yes. No, I actually have this written down. I have this written down, David, because I'm
Yep.
glad that you mentioned it. Because
And by the way, Zara's tower stood
Yeah.
long
It's
enough.
the balance of the house of
Mhm.
cards. They have the rope. They got to do the balance beam thing back and forth. And the highest stack at 45 minutes or the first to use all the cards wins. They get neck and neck, Kate and Zara do, right? And at the 45-minute mark, JLP says 3, 2, 1. They're
One.
both still standing, and right after one, Zara's piece falls, and then he goes,
and
Kate
declares
wins.
her the loser.
I'm telling you, I was like, what? Like, is this a mistake in editing? Because that fell after one. What do you think?
Well, then what would it have been? A tie?
Sure.
But was
then they have to make
Kate's
fire
was
or
still
something.
taller, wasn't it?
I don't
Kate's
think
was-
so. I
I
don't
think
know.
Kate's
Kate's
about
was
the
still
same.
taller. It seemed like it was just like a little bit closer to the
I've-
line.
It looked like they were the same, but there had to have been something because I cannot believe that they would show us that obvious.
Well, and Zara
of a-
wasn't yelling about it. Zara wasn't like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did
wouldn't.
notice this week that was like Zara's face is starting to relax a little bit now. She
the
can make
Botox is
facial.
wearing off.
I think
Well,
it is fine. Yeah, she's gonna be
yeah,
set.
she's getting a little bit of her nerve endings
Just
back
in
in
time
action.
to woo that jury.
Well, and she's honestly she's being a little more. Even though this is the more stressful part of the game, I'm certain she seems like she's almost more relaxed than she has been the entire game. Like she's laughing a little. Her conversations are flowing a little bit easier. I think that when she was at the bottom and her and Miles had that conversation, I really, really think that changed
Was
how
able to
she felt
relax.
about her place in the game.
Yeah. It was funny. There was at one point where she laughs and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally know what Zara is. She's like that, like stuck up English woman that's like, like it was very much like that. And I was like,
Yes.
wow.
She's got
right?
some,
She's got like fancy dogs and
some prim and proper,
yeah, maybe goes to watch. They like writing lessons and stuff like that.
I mean, owning Lamborghinis might do that.
Oh, dang it. Yeah,
Just
that's who
saying.
she is.
I can't stop
Anyway.
thinking about her. Like, her introduction package is like, oh, here's my Lamborghini.
Yes, that was her. I hate
like literally her
"Ew."
introduction.
But I'll tell you what, her body is banging at the end of this.
Yes.
She's like, she is like, you go, Zara.
Yeah,
she looks
Well,
fantastic.
between her and
holding her
Kate, they probably together don't weigh 180 pounds.
She's so tiny. She's tiny.
They're both tiny.
I.e., they were the two that were used in that challenge where they had to carry them, but they dropped Kate, and Zara laughed the whole way through. So
just kept floating her over on the net.
Anyway,
well, okay, so all right, fine. Zara loses. Kate wins immunity. They go into tribal. Morgan and Kate try to pull Zara against Miles. They try. And then there's this. Since we are talking about Zara, I mean, say what you will. She may not be playing the flashy game that Miles and AJ has, and she may not have she doesn't have the maybe doesn't have the evidence to the game she has played, or it may not be as bright and shiny. But Zara has this thing that she does, and we've seen her do it at so many tribals. There's someone pleading for her to do something, and she literally keeps them calm enough where they think she's gonna do it, and then she doesn't do it over
She's
and
like
over
Lucy,
again.
Lucy with the football with her vote.
Every time.
She gives them her complete attention.
Oh.
Yep.
Like she's like, they have a chance. There's a chance. There's not a chance.
I mean, like, in this one, they're saying, well, what about Miles? Like when they change it, they go, okay, wait, what about Miles? Like and she says, yes, actually, Miles is better for my game to get rid of. That is a better choice. Yes, Miles. And then nope.
No. But were you surprised though, even a little bit? Because I feel like had she done it, just her specifically, any of them could have, but had she done it, it would have been a 3-3 tie, in which case those two couldn't vote. But Miles would not have played his idol. And I think AJ would have gone, oh crap, Miles. You know what I mean? They might have gone, now's our chance.
This is my time. Maybe. It could have been a missed opportunity.
I thought that would have been really exciting. Not that I wanted to see Miles go, but that would have been interesting gameplay. Anyway.
Right. I don't know. Morgan and Kate aren't successful, as you were saying. And it doesn't work out. And David loses his winner pick. And Morgan goes to jury.
And Zara says,
in fairness, it is my second winner pick.
Yeah. Also,
and Jamie's not saying a word because she's on her third.
No, I'm not.
I have listed Paul, then Noonan, then Miles.
No, I had Noonan. Remember on the first day
I
said Paul, and I said, no, you know
Paul.
what? I'm going to make it be Noonan.
Right. Okay.
Noonan.
Because I was like, she's the least
Noonan
obvious winner. And then I switched it to Miles.
Christy, though, still her winner pick with Caitlin. Still
holding strong.
In there.
Still holding strong.
Don't tell anyone. He's a world record.
He's looking, you know what? He's looking more and more like Stifler's cousin. He looks so much like him.
It's something in the eyebrows, right? He's got like the... Yes. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But just an all-around sweeter guy, though, I think.
Yeah, definitely a sweeter guy than Stifler, of course. Okay, so episode 22 is Polarizing the Outcome. Good title. Zara?
We're not going to talk at all about Morgan, or
that doesn't really come around.
That doesn't come until later.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we're gonna go for it.
Then we are going full out, just like Zara. We're gonna go balls to the wall. Her and Miles are beginning to set up an AJ cut at 5. And I don't know about you all, but I started getting real nervous because I feel like somewhere at the very beginning of the game, I was like, oh, I feel like AJ is going to be the 5th cut. I feel like AJ is going to be the fallen angel. Oh, God. Right at the beginning. And so this made me nervous because I was like, oh, No.
It's starting. It's starting.
No.
They're laying it down.
But it's hard to be the best active player in the game and make it past this point. If you can, I feel like that is a monumental thing to present to the jury. I'm just saying, it's something that I might pull out of my pocket.
And I'm sure that like Zara was a little bit more than ticked off that Kate was still there. And gosh darn it, AJ got to keep her again.
Oh, that AJ always gets his way. Well, Miles tells AJ that Kaylin should be next. And then AJ and Kaylin decide that they need to try to get Kate to work with them. AJ and Zara run scenarios, and never once in all the scenarios is there a scenario that Miles could cut AJ. Like, never. AJ was making me so nervous. Like he's literally like, I'm fine. Nobody's voting me.
Blinded by it.
I'm literally in the best position. Oh my God, AJ, editing. How are you not running a single scenario that you could be the one cut?
He didn't. He would have, because that's how he goes. And so that to me makes me think editing did it that way to make you worried.
Well done.
I mean?
Good job. It did.
Because I don't think AJ's that sloppy. You know what I mean? He sees everything.
I mean, I just feel
he's like Santa. He sees you when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
He knows when you're awake and hunting idols in the jungle.
He just knows. He knows. Now, there's also the possibility that maybe he does realize that, but he's not going to say it out loud, because if he says it out loud, perhaps somebody grabs a hold of that idea.
Right. Maybe.
I don't know.
Beetlejuice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This would be a great time for special effects to jump in. I'm just saying. Man, if we had the funds, guys, you would be Beetlejuicing right now. Okay, so we're gonna go into the challenge, and it's that grid that they have to walk through and have the blocks and stack them.
That's the worst, right?
I have watched some of the best hissy fits in Survivor come from this challenge.
It's so frustrating.
It doesn't look like an old bed frame, like an old spring bed frame. That's what it makes me think of.
You're gonna skin your shin, and when you're watching it, it's just as traumatic watching it, because it really is one of those. Oh my gosh, you can barely look, because any second someone's gonna bump something, and then every time it falls, you're like, oh my God.
Now I have a thought that I want to know what you guys
challenge. Okay, let's hear the thought.
My thought is that I feel like this season of Australia has had an overabundance of stack the things and don't make them fall.
And less strength challenges than they usually have. Yeah. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So by the time we get to this one, I'm like, I am super bored of this, actually. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of bored of the stacking things. I just am. It's just
I couldn't even watch. I had to look away. It was making me so nervous. I couldn't watch them fall again. Sorry.
They call this challenge on shaky ground, but to me, I don't know why they don't just call it fuck. You can be like, fuck.
Oh,
it's so true. Swear jar, ting. I think that
sorry, Brian.
Listen, I mean, we have had Survivor players in the past play this game and break the challenge because they're mad.
Yeah, there was one person who did.
Who was it who broke it?
He stomped on it.
Was it Jake?
And I'm telling you, at that point,
I think it was Jake.
Him so hard because he needed it so bad to stay in, and I was rooting for Jake at that point. I wanted him to win the whole game, make him the best comeback ever. Jake, go for it.
I didn't blame him. I didn't blame him for being frustrated. And I didn't blame AJ being frustrated this time, being the tall drink of water he is. He does not have tiny people feet.
Right. He's not graceful.
This is a nightmare scenario challenge.
You know what? AJ's really smart. But I'm going to say he's not the best dancer on the tribe. You know what I mean? The grace thing.
Yes.
I'm going to guess like Miles has some, just based on the body movements he's used to doing with his pole dancing.
Yep.
And
Zara's so tiny, she can walk through them as long as she's slow and careful. Tiny. She's not going to disturb it.
And Kate's got those like super long, thin, sticks.
Yeah, it is. I'm like, I don't know. I just felt like there's no way that Kaylin or AJ are going to walk away with this one.
No. Aren't Zara and Kate about the same size, same height?
I think
Kate's
so.
much taller.
Is she?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just both tiny. They're both
Or
tiny.
So like one is 5 foot nothing and the other is 5 foot nothing plus?
Yes,
Kate,
maybe.
Kate is taller. She's not, oh my God, tall, but she's not. I think Zara's definitely shorter. Don't make me crazy. I'm going to find a picture now. I'm scouring the internets. It's happening.
Look for their heights. I think
Continue.
you could just put in their name and look for their height. Google has everything.
That's too easy.
Google has all of it. Well, okay. So guess what? Like they stack the blocks, and after weeks and weeks of going slow and steady, it finally pays off for Zara. She wins the immunity. I always appreciate that in all of these stacking games, she is the one that never speeds up, and she just is going the same pace from start to finish, and it worked out for her this time around. So she gets the immunity necklace, or as Keelan would say, the necklace. So she's very excited. The necklace looks huge on her because she is teeny tiny.
Teeny tiny, yeah.
And
it looks like she couldn't fit through the door, like she hit the door. She's
yes,
it's
like the cone of shame, but instead it was the necklace of power. Like now with the safety immunity, Zara's got more drive to make the move, and her and Miles decide to tell Kate, let's vote for Keelan. Then they tell Keelan, hey dude, Kate's coming for you. Which is really great. Let's stir that pot. And then Miles and Zara
immediately like, what?
Yes, and then Miles and Zara, they go, well, we'll vote for AJ. On a revote, AJ would go home. So I love it. They're like, all we need to do is take Kate and Keelan and just keep them busy with each other, and then we can pull the stops over here.
And see, they're thinking of the plan that they should have done on Miles the last episode. Do you know what I mean?
Dang, so it's like, if you don't get Miles, you miss your opportunities. Yep. For them, for them, for any of the Zara, Kate, Morgan, Miles, AJ, Keelan, any of them going home at this point, a good thing. Yes. It's a good thing. So they've got this planned out with AJ. AJ believes that they're going to try to cut Kate, but with 2 votes on Miles and 2 on Kate, he'd let Kate go because he says he needs Kaylin in his end game. Now let's talk about that.
Do you believe him?
I think he really does feel he needs Keelan at the end.
That was a sincere statement.
I think he and Miles both think he can beat him.
Yeah, I do. I think
and
they
then
do.
That's the person that they can say, oh, this was my number one the whole time. I was 100% loyal to Kate, Keelan, and AJ.
I don't even think it matters if they say that they were 100% loyal to them. I do think maybe to their detriment, maybe not. I do think that they believe that they can out-convince the jury of their gameplay based off of their moves and their social interactions versus Kaylin's. Now, will that come into fruition? I don't know, because I don't know how he is going to present himself. Because if Keelan presents himself as he's presented himself to us, telling them he's no longer a golden retriever is not going to be enough for them to hand the money over to him, even if they are impressed with his immunity wins.
Right.
Well, he has got to be able to establish, here's my base level of intelligence. I just kept to myself. You guys do not know what I was thinking when I was thinking it. I knew where to maneuver and who to go to. He's going to have to sell it, and it will surprise AJ, and it will surprise Miles.
It will sell it if he can say, I made by alliance believe that my only threat was physical, but that they could use that physicality to keep the necklace and immunity away from the people that we wanted to vote out. But really, I was following all along, and they just didn't give me credit for my brains, because whatever.
The entire
if he can make some sort of, if he gets up there to give his dissertation on whatever, if he can speak like that, then I think he'll do a good job. But he seems to, when he's talking to people, he does the aw shucks thing a lot. He doesn't say a lot, or he's really quiet. He gets kind of aw shucks with all the players.
Yep.
I think they all totally think he's not very smart.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It all really depends on what he brings to the table. I don't know how he's going to line up his defense. I think on one hand, he could shock everybody and clean sweep it. But on the other hand, I think he could totally get 0 votes. It's so hard to tell. Yeah, it's hard to tell. But they all
You
think
gotta
that
figure
he's the one to go with them.
Miles or AJ, if they're sitting there, the big personality is gonna get them a vote or two, if for nothing else.
That's why I really would think it would be really cool if he had turned and got Miles out, or had turned and gotten AJ out this time. I think it would have been interesting to be like, oh dang, hold on. But maybe,
Especially if he could get AJ or Miles out when he was not wearing the immunity necklace. I think that would
But
be a very impressive thing for him to be. Yeah, sure, I broke the record for immunities, but I made my biggest moves when I was in the most danger, and I
yeah,
still came out on top. So I don't know. I don't know what Keelan could bring to the jury. It's hard to say, but AJ and Miles, who have spent the better half
Coconut.
of 2 months with him, both
Well,
believe
he still bring the 6 immunity wins.
that's. I mean, yeah, that's nothing to scoff
It's
at.
I
a
mean, it's
world
never been done
record.
in.
Yeah, I mean, and
What's the
there's 48
record
seasons of
for?
US that it hasn't been broken,
Right.
and there's 12 official, unofficial seasons of
Okay, so it
Australia.
is, unless something weird
Yeah, so
happened
that's
in
60 seasons of a show, and it's never been done.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. So, yeah.
yeah.
Is this the crowd that's going to be oohed and awed and say you totally deserve the entire win because of this?
No.
I don't know. How much do they? How
I think
salty
they'll
are
be
they at AJ
laughing.
and Miles?
I think
You
they'll
know?
be laughing their butts off at that one where he was at the end just standing there trying not to win the puzzle while they tried to catch
Like
up.
the one piece
Remember
of the
that one?
puzzle is thinking,
Yeah.
oh, how does this go?
Where he's like,
Oh.
shh, don't tell him how I'm doing. That one,
Don't
when they
tell
see
him.
that, they probably think that's funny because, like, oh my gosh. But I don't know. I hope he can speak well.
Yes, I
when the
mean,
time
I do
comes.
too. I want all of them to do. I want all of them to be at their top-notch level. I mean, I don't at the point of who do I want to win, Miles, AJ, or Keelan, or Zara? Honestly, I don't have just. I mean, for my winners pick, there's that, but like I don't necessarily have a favorite that I want to win. I just want all of them to like bring their A game. You know?
All four of them have been entertaining in different ways.
I think I'm team AJ at this moment. I really think.
Yeah, I mean,
in my heart, like,
David,
like,
are you a Ravenclaw?
huh?
I think that we value intelligence, and AJ has shown that in abundance. His
I'm
keen
clearly,
mind.
as we've discussed many times, I'm clearly Slytherin.
Oh, well, so am I. But
All
you know,
that ambition, all that ambition.
the ambition. So, but you know what I mean. I think that he absolutely ticks that box of he's always thinking logically, strategically, thinking of every angle, and that's been really great to watch. I don't know if he's done more strategic moves or thoughts than, say, a George did. George did it in a different way.
No, but maybe the difference between his game and George's is George has never got across the finish line.
Yeah, there's that.
You know.
So yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I think AJ's been fantastic. I think there's just a great argument for Miles as well.
I think something that AJ has that necessarily that separates himself from George, because there's things that George has. There's certain things that George has that makes him a better player than AJ. Where I think AJ has a better game in his game is that it seemed like in both seasons with George is that he had a group of 2 or 3 ultimate loyal people. And he didn't really have to worry about anything outside of that. He didn't manage other people outside of his little core group. AJ, however, has 1 or 2 loyalist people, like the most loyal, but he's a busy bee and he's circling around them.
He's
all
trying
the
to
time.
manage everyone. He's looking for any crack,
that's,
or anything
I guess,
he can exploit anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is I think George was a little too caustic with people outside of the people he was working with.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas I think AJ, with the exception of now I can't think of her name.
Danny?
No, she's gone. She's Logan. Logan. With the exception of Logan, he really hasn't angered anybody. I mean, Karen, because he didn't tell her about an idol that he had no obligation to tell her about. But
right.
I think Karen's like an old man yelling at the wind.
I think so too. Well, AJ does seem to have, like I said, he has a little tiny core group, but I think he tries to make everybody feel like he's pulling them into that core group.
Right.
You know, but he's
right.
doing it to everyone.
That's why I think his game may be slightly better than George's, and I hate to impugn the king, but
yeah, I think he has a better. I think he's provided himself better safety net.
I'm just
I
saying,
think that's
George,
it.
maybe give him a call and see if he wants to work on the next campaign you're working on, because he might be able to
Oh,
help you guys out.
he
Right?
might do a great job. He
He'll
just
find all the
might.
peoples. He'll go door to door just himself.
He will. Well, okay. Now we've got Zara, and she's kind of touching base with Kate. Now Kate surprises her and says, "Hey, I'm willing to work with you and Miles, but do you realize at this point, every person is voting for a different person? So the first time in this season, we have got a 1-1-1-1."
Stars in the swing seat.
Everybody's got a different target. So now we're going to talk about how they have to negotiate that in just 5 seconds, because we're going to pause for a commercial break. All right. So they're busy scheming over there with their 1-1-1s. Mile is recognizing that, you know what? I'm going to have to cut AJ. And I have feelings about that. That's a tough spot to be in. I mean, it's not a tough spot to be in the game. It's where you want to be. But it does take probably a little bit of soul searching and deep breathing. And I got to stick to my guns. And I can't let this persuade me to go differently, because this is the plan, and this is the plan that's going to work. And I'm going to have to cut AJ. He's not gleeful about it. And it's interesting because historically, Miles has had a good chuckle about every single person he was about to blindside. But he doesn't chuckle about this one. He knows it's going to be like a good move. He knows what good TV looks like. But
did you
kind of
think
feels bad about it?
Do you think he really pulled one over on AJ at that moment?
Yes.
See, I don't think he did.
I think he did, and I'll tell you why at the end.
Sitting there and they're running it, and then there's a pause, and AJ looked right at it and was like, "I don't believe you. I don't believe anything you say." Right?
Well, here's the thing.
And Miles pauses for a second, and that pause, there was something weird about that pause. And I think it's because I think Miles tried to bluff, and I think he didn't bluff him there.
I think maybe so. But there's a moment where AJ says to him, just play your idol on yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't try to do anything flashy. Play your idol for yourself.
Yeah, because he doesn't want it being...
One, cuckoo. I think AJ goes, this is the only way I know where I'm in control and where I'm not. Mm-hmm. But it also feeds a little something to Miles, where he's like, wait a minute, do you know something I don't know? You're telling me I need to use my idol on myself, like that, because that paranoia is going so thick in that camp. So I don't know. Maybe he was calling it a little bit, but
I felt like both of them had a plan that they wanted to do, but I felt like each one of them didn't really want to tell each other, because obviously that would, like, they couldn't spill it, but they were trying to get a read for each other. And I think AJ went, "Oh, Miles, you're trying to do something tricky."
Cheeky Miles.
Oh, Miles.
I'm going to circulate back to that during tribal, because I think this is where the questioning comes in. So, okay, we go into the tribal. Jury enters, and there's no Morgan. And JLP says, "Oh, you notice we're one short. Morgan has left the game." Okay, this is why Morgan got the purple edit, because she left the game. She left the game. So you're not going to, unless you are truly a part of that story, you're probably not going to get a lot of screen time, and you're not going to get the confessionals because you quit the game.
Yep.
And even if you're in jury, you're still quitting the game. So there is that.
It makes everything make a little bit more sense, right?
But we have to just take a minute and have a ponder and a wonder of why did you leave the jury? You're getting paid and you're relaxing. So what is the?
She said this was harder than the Olympics.
Yeah, she did. Well, now she's in the easy part. But I know that there I mean, everybody that's invested in this knows there's some sort of shenanigans that have been going on, because George put out a tweet this week where he was talking about Kate and Morgan going, and was all like, yeah, well, so what? Because like they were boring. Of course, they didn't make any moves, yada yada. And she responded, and she
Morgan?
was. Yes. And she was salty and was like, you don't know what kind of BS I had to deal with out there. I don't know. Again,
well, has anybody read the conspiracy theory that is proffered upon the Reddit?
I knew one of you guys would have figured it out. David,
I am prepared to share the conspiracy theory.
Okay, and we repeat, this is a Reddit thread conspiracy theory. We have nothing that signals that this is a fact.
Correct. There's no. Frankly, this is probably bullshit. But I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it anyway. And it says,
it's total crap, but we're going to read it anyway.
It has 494 upvotes. And it says, here's what happened, seeing as it doesn't appear to have come out yet. Ben was singing songs around the camp that included the N-word in them.
All right.
Morgan felt uncomfortable around him, as you would. Mm-hmm. And threatened to walk from the show. Yeah. They decided to kick Ben out. And after that, Morgan was still very unhappy with production. Producers had to keep coming to the set to convince her to keep playing. When she got voted out, she was apparently throwing bombs left, right, and center, which apparently made the edit impossible. She refused to join Jury Villa and got put up in a separate hotel when she left. Eventually, I believe she did join the jury, but it will be interesting to see if she's there in tonight's episode.
Well, she wasn't.
And then it's a source, friend who works on the show.
All right.
Who knows?
Okay, so let's say that the general framework of that initial incident is true in that situation. Okay. That is not cool. The show took care of it and got rid of Ben. So why is she going to still be salty? They didn't do enough for her?
They didn't do it fast enough. They didn't condemn it. They didn't, they didn't put a thing on the disclaimer on the TV.
Now, I mean, I'm not going to insert that. I know that anything did or did not happen past that incident. I do.
Well, I mean, that wasn't the original theory. It was way worse than that. So
I know that there has been many a conversation in Australia threads that says that this show specifically has had kind of a cruddy history with racism within its ranks. So, I mean, this is real life today,
Yeah.
And I don't feel like anybody who is made to be in that position should have to tolerate that kind of crap. If that is in fact what happened, then I applaud them for cutting Ben from the show. But after that, I don't know if there was other things going on that made her feel like she was still being
salty about it.
Yeah, like she was still being put in an unsafe position. But it does tend to lean into the idea of this is why you don't get an edit. This is why you don't have confessionals.
I would be really interested to see how something like that went down, because that wouldn't have happened in a vacuum, right? It's not just the two of them. There would have been the entirety of the tribe.
Oh, yeah, it would have been the talk of the island. Right.
I mean, it would have been, and I'm going to guess that some of those people, not just her, would have been like, dude, that's not cool. Like, that's not okay.
Or on the flip side, there may have been some people that were not supportive of her that are sitting in jury.
Well, that could be what the problem is.
Then they're sitting there.
There were 5 or 6 people who were salty at her for getting Ben thrown off the show, especially if it's like a popular song that happened to have that word in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not defending it at all, but I'm saying that people on the tribe might have.
People, we don't have to know those songs.
Well, people haven't made.
You know what's great in my world? I don't know those songs. So.
I don't either. You know why? because there's many other words you could use that wouldn't offend people.
Yeah.
Don't be a jerk.
That's the conspiracy.
Oh, we
conspiracy
use the C
theory
word.
that
This is an
we're
Australia podcast.
left with. But I will say the one thing I did note.
Maybe that's the word he said, and that's what got him kicked out. No, they would have high-fived him for it.
When Jury walked in and she wasn't there, none of them looked surprised. None of them looked surprised at all.
No.
So, and then when he said, "Hey," and then when he said, "You may notice she's not there," they were all like, "Yeah."
But not even Kate. Yep. That was the thing. I mean, I thought. So
they didn't look surprised.
So were her and Morgan not close? I don't understand. Kate was all, "I can't write her name down."
But maybe that's part of why she couldn't write her name down. Maybe she just couldn't do it. Maybe because she was one who did defend her. Who knows? See how
so weird. It's just so weird. Come on, people it's a game, people. It's a game.
But she may have been in the position where she felt like she had to defend Morgan more than once or twice, and writing her name down was like, I can't do it to her. I can't do not after what's been happening. I can't do it.
Then guess what? Then you've chose to not play the game.
Honestly. And AJ was like, well, fine. Then I guess you're going to go have to stack cards to stay. And that's why we're stacking cards.
Scott shares a comment, which boils down to he doesn't buy it.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is fine. I would love to see what other theories are out there. This is the only one that I've heard. I was going to jump on this evening and
do some sleuthing?
Yeah, I was going to see if I could dig anything up, but I figured you guys already did.
Here's the thing.
Reddit is a
jury
videos.
Yes.
I understand in some aspects why a production company or channel, whatever, I get it. I get why you don't want to put all of that out to the press. However, there is something to be said.
Maybe they're worried they'd have to pay royalties on the song.
But there's something to be said about at least giving.
I don't know.
No clue.
Well, okay, because he wasn't freestyling, right? He wasn't using the word as he's like freestyling.
We don't know. We don't literally know. Okay, I read every word.
I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Like, if it's an actual lyric, it's like, you shouldn't. But like at the same time, are you just being stupid? And it's, I don't know. Anyway,
maybe Scott, it wasn't even a popular song.
I don't think they think that's funny in Australia.
But guys, I think you would agree, right? Like, this is why production companies, when something like this does happen, at least give the base level of the truth.
Yeah, because
just give the base level of the truth so that we're not sitting here going, this happened, or maybe this happened, or maybe this happened, because sometimes it tends to look 10 times worse than it was.
Well, yeah, if production puts a thing on that says Ben was asked to leave over an accusation of racism and he sues them, I mean...
I don't know. I feel like all the contracts that you have to sign going into the game would protect him of that.
I almost feel like air it.
Yeah.
Show it.
That's what I said.
Make up our own mind. Yeah.
Big deal. You know what? If someone's going to be a jerk they know there's cameras everywhere and they're on a TV show that's going to be nationwide. And we've
seen that how often on Big Brother.
I was going to say, and this is why so many people petition every year to just take Big Brother off the air.
But you know what I mean? Let us see that person make that monumental error and watch the rest of the tribe teach that person a lesson in whatever sense that means. Some people are going to be mad. Some people are going to be, dude, that's not cool.
Some people are going to try to create a bridge of conversation.
Some other people might be just as stupid and be like, oh, I didn't understand, whatever. But do you know what I mean? And then it's not. And then it just is.
I mean, listen, the real world had great success based on that exact thing.
If you played if you played it right like that without even editing, how could they even sue you? It's like, dude, we were filming you.
It's just you doing what you were doing, right?
We didn't. No one made you say it.
Well, regardless, irregardless, and all of the regards, Morgan was not at jury. Polly still looked awesome. And Miles has decided it's time to play his idol because it's the last chance to do so. And he says, if you aren't playing your own game for you, then what are you doing? The votes break down to Miles gets 1, which doesn't count. AJ 1, Keelan 1, Kate 2. And Kate's going to go to jury. But this, Christy, I feel like this moment was the moment of the entire episode. And we don't even see their faces, really. You can hear Zara say sorry to Miles. Sorry, she says to Miles. And AJ asks Miles, who was she supposed to vote for? And Miles says, you. And AJ says, why?
Yes, why?
It was so good. Oh my God, you can't write drama like that.
Miles is always very honest with what he's done. He
Miles
owns
should have
every move.
not said that.
Even if he's not successful, he owns it. So we say all the time, be a villain, but own it. He 100% does that every time.
If you believe the coming attractions, Miles is now
persona non grata.
The person going to be tossed out.
Yeah.
That was I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's just his habit, to be honest, especially with AJ, because they've been so open with each other on things. But like, I don't know, like, make something up in the moment. Zara was supposed to put her vote on me because she knew I was playing the idol because she didn't want to piss you or Keelan off.
Do you think Zara is serious about going with Miles to the end? No. If she is, why say that right there?
Yeah.
Why say sorry to him? You're gonna do your damage control with Miles when AJ's not sitting right there.
Yeah, I don't know that Miles made a great move and all of that.
So who voted Keelan then?
Whether it was a good move or not, it was
Kate voted Keelan,
tasty.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was two on Keelan. He was the only one that got the double vote.
AJ voted.
I mean, Kate. Sorry, Kate is the only one that got the double vote.
Right, but she voted for Keelan. Miles voted for AJ.
Keelan voted for Kate, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Who did AJ vote for?
AJ voted for Kate.
Those were the two.
No, and so did Zara.
Right, there's your two.
Okay, sorry.
So it wasn't Keelan that voted for Kate.
Yeah, no, it couldn't have been then.
I feel like AJ got one vote. That was from
AJ got a vote. Miles got a vote.
Miles voted for AJ.
Right, and Miles got one vote. Who was from?
Is that Keelan? Was that AJ?
This is what happens when you don't watch the end. I was too shook by the Miles just told him
Zara was in control. It was whoever she was going to vote for was the one that was going to go home.
Yes.
Right. But
and it was supposed to be AJ.
Well, supposed to be from Miles. That's what she told Miles.
Mm-hmm. Right. According to Miles, Zara was supposed to vote.
Oh, and the Facebook fandom is so mad at her over that.
Who?
For not sending home the Facebook people.
Oh, for not cutting AJ?
Yeah. As though that was going to help her game. I get why she did what she did. Her and Kate were playing the same game. There's only room for one.
She was completely, I understand it as well, but she was so blinded by it. You have to still be
You still have to get to the final three. Yeah. And she's not going to get to the final three.
Well, she stands a very good chance. Who wouldn't want to sit by her at the end?
They all want to take her, I think.
They're not taking her.
They all want to take her.
I don't know. They don't.
Oh, now they all want Miles out, so I think you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't think
Keelan and AJ are now gunning Miles 100%.
Well, okay, maybe. But here's the thing about AJ. AJ doesn't just write someone's name down because they wrote his name down. He's going to talk about it a lot, and he may do it and he may not do it. But AJ is going to do what's best for AJ's game. If he decides Miles going now is best for his game, he'll do it. But there's no vindictiveness in what he decides to do. Zara maybe could have done better keeping Kate, even if they are two of the same thing. She could have still, if it was her and Kate and Keelan at the end, she still had an opportunity to present her game.
From her point of view, she thought she was interchangeable with Kate in a lot of ways. And she said, the only way if I'm the only one, they're going to take me. And you know what? I'll figure out what to do when I'm in the final two.
I feel like from her point of view, she made the best move for her game. I think.
Well, how else should she vote except by her point of view to make the best move for her game?
But I think that as the game goes, it may not have been the best move for her. But where she's at, she might feel that it is.
But that can be reassessed from tribal to tribal.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's always changing.
Especially with this group.
Now, I wanted to ask if you guys watched Kate's jury.
Yes,
they were super nice to her, every one of
and
them.
that's why I think
and
Kate
nobody mentioned Morgan not being there.
Yeah,
no, they didn't. She didn't even ask, or they cut that off.
They wouldn't have showed it, but
they wouldn't have showed it.
That's what I mean when I'm saying, like, once seeing her go to the jury villa and how much she was adored, it was like, oh, I think that she might have presented a little bit more roadblocks.
And it's
than
funny,
what they
she was in the car saying how she really needed a hug. She really needed a hug right now. Like, and they were all super nice to her. So maybe that's just what she
Well, no, I mean, every
brings that
single
out in
one of
people,
them,
too.
when you contrast that to Kristen's, when she walked in and just Polly jumped her, right? And nobody, I mean, they just left,
They've been they have been at least slightly salty, even though Logan said a lot of it is just kind of like dramatized for TV and they're having fun. But you can still tell where they're like, why did you do this thing to me? Why did you lie to me? Kate isn't somebody that went, listen, the downfall of Kate's game is also the reason.
Why didn't you give me a meatball? That's what Kate wants to know.
I gotta say, the best moment of the jury video was Kate enjoying her chocolate lying on her back on the bed. She was just really liking that chocolate.
I just think it's so amazing how every year they make these amazing like halls for them in their rooms, just set just for them, because they don't all have the same stuff. It's specifically
their
like
own,
their favorite things, and they have the little spa box with like all their favorite like bathroom products, right? And like, and they could just.
Was it US that used to leave a phone? Because I don't think. Or was it Australia and they stopped doing it?
No, because on whose was it? Logan's? Was it Logan's?
Well, no.
I think it was Logan's jury villa. She did make a phone call.
Or is that the one she got at the auction? She got a phone call at the auction.
No, at the villa she called and said like, nope, I didn't. I'm here. And they're like, well, just enjoy yourself. So, but here's the deal with Kate though. She's clearly a favorite of the group in the jury villa, but also the part of the reason why she's the favorite of so many people is because she didn't go around and lie to most of them that were in there. They were her alliance members.
She wasn't really playing anything,
and they're her alliance members
you have to
largely.
Lie to people when you're not really doing anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to go into jury if it's people that you haven't lied to and you haven't wrote their name down. It is what it is.
Here's the thing I wanted to say about her video. So she gets there, everyone's super nice to her. She has her own idea about how the votes went down. She does not think that Zara voted for her. She thinks Zara was the AJ vote. She says that to them.
Right.
So she has no idea. Not only did she had no idea what was going on in that game.
So Miles obviously didn't take a run at her to vote for AJ.
No,
because he would rightfully have figured she'd run back back to AJ.
She wouldn't have gone to her. But she's looking at the people who would have voted for AJ. She doesn't even understand who voted her out. She thinks, who does she think voted her out?
I don't know.
Miles and Keelan?
I think so. I think that Keelan is definitely one that she thinks it could have been.
But here's the thing: if she's in the jury and she's telling the jury that. Do you see what I'm saying? Unless they ask the right questions, this is why this was exactly the sort of misread of what's really happening. Like they leave the game and they still don't even know, but then they're going to tell their wrong information to the jury, which then can taint the jury. They don't know that they're wrong. They think they've listen.
Yeah, they used to. Sometimes they let them watch it, right?
And then the jury comes home after playing the game and sees the fans are all ticked off at them for the vote that they made, and they're left to try to explain and rationalize their vote for 4 years, and never once can they say, oh, we were given bad information. They just try to justify it.
But okay, so is there a way where that helps Zara? They think she took a stab at AJ, just didn't go.
Maybe.
I mean, if that's what they think, unless that's rectified at the final tribal or something when they're able to ask
perhaps
questions,
but again it's how do they. This is the tough part about us judging the jury, because we have not lived with them,
right?
Because there are people that are going to vote strictly on gameplay. There are people that are going to vote based on their own values and
who they like
yeah, and not even just who they like, but like some people get like real like hoity-toity, about like loyalty and backstabbing
Oh
is
my
a
god.
sin, and
I'm gonna play a good game. I'm gonna play a
But I
loyal
think if
game. I'm
I
gonna play
had
a
like a
truthful
key
game.
ally
right.
and I got
And
voted
then
out,
Chrissy
that
says
ally
no.
would get the vote just by principle.
You would think, but
Even if they didn't play the best game, I'd give them the vote just because that was the person I was working with.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's a team thing, right? It's like a congratulating
It
your team
depends.
member
It
for
would
making
depend
it
on
that far.
okay, if I was Laura, for instance, she's been in the jury so long that she might have had some time to kind of distance to actually see the game through do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
She might be able to go no, the best player needs to be picked, But
I think that there's I don't know. Laura's so tough because on one hand, I want to say there's no way Zara would get Laura's vote after all of that. But then I kind of look at Laura and be like, she might actually give Zara her vote. because
honestly,
Laura has a history of the people being mad at her. She just does things for them.
And like you
So
said, them wanting to vote for a woman, like some of those girls might, or like you said, Logan might
yeah.
be.
And then there's also the
Whatever.
players who are like the real competitors who will want to vote for the person that took them out.
Right.
Yes, right. Because if you can't be number one, you want to be beat by number one,
Right.
right?
Game
Exactly.
respects game, right?
Right.
And, well, because then it's like maybe I am number two. They took me out. We don't know because they're number one.
Yeah. And I think that if Miles was sitting in jury, do you think he would give his vote to Keelan or AJ? I feel like he would give it to AJ.
AJ 10 out of 10 times. So AJ would give it to Miles too.
And AJ would give it to Miles. Who would Keelan give it to? See, we don't know
AJ.
because
I think he would
Keelan
definitely
hasn't
give it to
really.
AJ. No, I think he would definitely give it to AJ.
Over
I
Miles?
think that's true. I think you're right, Christy.
Because I think the two of them he's heard AJ lay out his strategies a little more, I think. So he already knows how AJ's been playing.
And Miles has been
than
playing a
Miles.
little more erratic.
Miles is really weird. He has that brutal honesty thing going on. Right?
He just shovels through. He just shoves through, and
when Kate's out there and she's like, "Oh, I'm just looking for idols. Hey, you got one in your pocket? You can." He just the way he just turns and walks away, doesn't even answer her. Right?
I forgot about that.
When he's talking, he's being very honest usually with people. When he doesn't tell you, he won't lie. He just won't tell you anything.
Isn't this a thing that was really irritating Logan and Zara about Miles earlier in the game? Because he was just, when he would talk to somebody, he was ultimately just kind of honest with the layout, and Logan and Zara were like, "Shut up,
let's
Miles.
call it what it was.
You're talking
he
too
went
much.
too hard too early.
Sure,
Didn't
but
hurt
it
him,
goes
though,
back
really.
to
It did hurt him.
It goes
but
back
he got away with it.
I don't know. I think he's done real well.
He has, but it goes back to Miles's gameplay is like, I'm just gonna flat out be like this, and this.
He's all,
and then just throw it at the wall and cross my fingers,
Yeah.
And it's worked.
He's the player. He's going to get that board game out and get all the pieces set up. And then he's
guys,
okay,
this is
what if we don't play by the rules? And he just throws it out. Roll the dice.
Could be wrong, but definitely in the second half of the game, at least, this is the first time that Miles has tried to construct something and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, he's tried to make moves that haven't gone through.
But not since the halftime of the game.
Because him and AJ have been making moves together.
This was a move he went probably one
they have been going
too early on.
So maybe
he went to the wrong person.
Well, maybe this is an excellent point for AJ as a defense, is that yes, he made all of these moves that worked. He played all of these idols correctly because he always had me there working with him. And the first time he tried to work without me and tried to cut me, he failed.
Right. Well, the first episode this week, 21, that one was the one where he starts trying to feel out the girls if Keelan doesn't win immunity, we should vote for him. Shut up. He didn't have to say any of that. Wait until he doesn't win.
Wait until he
'Cause
doesn't win.
People will listen the second he's available.
Yeah.
And see then, but it was almost like that was unlike Miles, like slipping that information of like some premeditated information that we don't know if we can actually play upon yet. But he was like, and he was telling it to Kate and Morgan. And so maybe that was where it was like, baby, don't be so honest with them right now. You feel that out as needed, not beforehand.
Do you get the sense, and it might just be me, but do you get the sense that as far as relationships go, that we know AJ irritates people, but it almost feels like people kind of maybe like AJ more than Miles?
Well, because because he does make them feel listened to, right?
Also, I feel like when AJ and Miles have pulled something off, AJ simply smiles and Miles gloats.
Yeah.
You know,
AJ
like
sometimes able to
Miles
deflect
kind
it
of
on
makes
somebody
like a
else.
big faces, laugh. Yeah, I don't know.
And I
Okay,
think, like,
But it's funny because the fandom does not like AJ more.
Yeah, it's so weird when they voted out Polly, and was it Polly, and Logan was like, that was me. No, wasn't Polly. Who was it? Was it Polly?
Yes.
No,
it wasn't.
no,
it was Karin. It was when
sorry.
Karin went. Yeah.
Yeah. So
right, Karin or Kristen? I think it was Karin.
Right, Karin. So that whole thing where she was like, that was me, and AJ was like, I'm gonna let her take the fall for it because she's claiming it. You know, AJ's done stuff like that where that was totally his move. He made that happen.
Yep.
But again, I guarantee you Logan's over in jury still thinking she did that.
I think that Logan feels like she did that anytime something's a success.
And so that's where AJ's been great about, like, it's not just that he doesn't gloat. He sometimes doesn't even have to, like, no one knows he did it. Now he can't really, he's no one to hide it behind now, but
yeah, there's no place for him to hide now. So yeah, okay. Esoteric Candy says that they continue to view Miles as just pure chaos, then a master strategist and manipulator, even with all the stupid idols. I kind of feel like they see him as a show off. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's great TV and he's funny, and I'm sure they're just like, oh my God, you know, here he is being cheeky and he did it again. But
oh, look at how they laughed. They erupted in the jury when he pulled out his idol, this last one. Because they were like,
we knew it, of course, this guy.
This guy's got it again.
Okay. So let's play a game. Whoever wants to go first. Who do you want to win? Who do you think will win? Christy.
AJ for both.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say AJ too for both.
I mean, I'm not going to be sad. You thought I was going to say I want Keelan to win. I do want him to win, but for purely selfish reasons. But if, as a game lover.
It'd be your first wire to wire.
What do you mean?
Your first
pick being the winner.
Yes, and I totally want him to win.
I would be.
I never get that lucky.
I would be okay with Keelan winning. I would be happy with Miles winning, but AJ's who I want to win.
Yeah, as a game lover watcher,
yeah,
I think AJ's sitting really good right now, and I think it would be satisfying to watch him win.
How about you, David?
To all of our listeners, we have achieved a tally the votes miracle.
Oh my God, it's like Nirvana.
We all agree.
Do we go to the next level now?
On something we are now going to level 2. Level 2 tally the votes.
Oh
hey, mates.
Yes.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Good day, mates.
If we both want him to win and we both think he will win, and then he does win, will the world explode?
It could potentially.
We could. It might be what solves world hunger. I mean,
it could just be the crazy Hank feed that explodes.
Like, guys, like it'll literally be the apocalypse or we solve world hunger. That's what happens.
Guys,
one or the other.
No, he's been, from somebody.
Oh my God! Now it's definitely the apocalypse because the 4 horsemen of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse is rode in.
I think that we all we all clearly appreciate a brilliant mind and a strategist, and we
Yes.
recognize whether editing or otherwise that AJ has shown the best strategic mind.
Yes.
And because when Scott appeared, he called out my typo. Look at how he spelled believe.
I like it.
It's the
Australian way to spell it. That's how they spell it down under.
No, the Aussies are amazing spellers. Jamie, don't say that.
Well, they just spell things different. Did they
All
spell
right.
colors? Did they spell color like COLOR? Did they sneak a U in there? I don't know.
There's a U.
I don't think the Australians do that.
Fancy
Zara
spelling.
absolutely is TRE on theater, 1000%.
Yes.
There's a U in color.
So
for
to
next
the listeners,
week,
hold on one second. To the listeners, I know it's going to be said and done, but maybe you should chime in and let us know who you think is going to win and who you want to win.
Facebook page, we should set up a poll and see. Now that we're down to our final week, let's do a poll. We can see what people think.
Check it out on the Facebook.
One will be who we think's going to win, one who we want to win. Maybe we do 2 polls. 2 for the price of 1.
A twofer on the forfer.
So Christy will be setting up polls on Tally the Votes tonight.
Yeah, go in there. Tell us what you think. Get the Tally the Votes Facebook.
I'll set it up right now.
And send us some feedback, because so far Scott is the only feedback we've ever received.
Just let us know what you thought about this season, because next week when it comes down to it, we'll read the email. Let us know what you thought of the season, who your favorite players were, favorite moments, what you liked or disliked about the season, what conspiracy theories you may or may not have heard. Make up a conspiracy theory. Whatever you want to do, just send it to us.
Share.
At tallythefeedback@yahoo.com, and we will read it next week in our finale episode. Whatever it takes. You can also hit like and subscribe, and that allows us to keep doing this fun thing that we get to do once a week, because we will be back here for Australia versus the world. So we'll have a 5-week break, 6-week break maybe.
Yeah, and then we'll just have those 4 weeks, and that'll be.
And then we're gonna have Australia versus the world, and then Big Brother will follow suit behind that.
Right.
I have seen that the celebrity Big Brother that is happening is it in the UK?
Maybe.
Has been it's got Mickey Rourke and JoJo Siwa. I don't even know. I haven't even been watching.
UK one?
I don't know if it's the UK or if it's us, because I've seen nothing. I don't watch TV anymore except for
it's not currently
my Survivors.
So Mickey Rourke?
Yes. Yeah, and he's been in some hot water publicly for some comments at the JoJo Siwa. It is a whole thing.
He is 72 years old.
So for next week, we will
some
be
homophobic comments about
JoJo. Yep.
I'm gonna say he's old and doesn't understand
JoJo
agree. Siwa, but I will tell you, David, she's got a massive side pony.
The pony's back. The pony is back. She's
love a side pony.
But you probably
and if you have a great side pony, post a picture of it on our Facebook page. I'll like it. Maybe no one else will, but I will definitely like it.
Yeah, he'll like it. You could even put on a wig and put a side pony, and he's gonna hit the like button.
Yep.
You feeling low about yourself? Are you feeling low? Do you need a little pick me up? Put on the side pony.
I'll give you all the positive reinforcement in the world.
Jeez Louise.
So next week we're filming on we're recording on a special day. We'll be recording Tuesday, which I guess is the 15th in the United States and the 16th in Australia. So we're here on Tuesday night.
Tuesday night.
So we will be on in Australia on Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m.
Oh, you can listen to us while you're at work.
And if you're in the good old US of A, we're on a Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Yeah, we're going to cover what we think is probably going to be a pretty great finale.
And I just want to say, Jamie, you're right. It is the UK Celebrity Big Brother.
Okay.
But I just wonder if they're US celebrities, why wouldn't they do the US Celebrity Big Brother?
Because I don't think that the US Celebrity Big Brother is a thing anymore.
But I mean, we weren't getting. Oh, okay, anyway, that's weird. Okay.
Well, that's because Meta World Peace won't come back, so they just decided to end it.
I think I feel
he had to change his name again.
It's because Todd broke the show. He broke the show.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason Jamie misses Twitter. She doesn't get her Todd Bridges fix.
I love the man. I can't help
with his
it.
unitard.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He had listen, to his credit, after his unitard game pictures came out, that man was like, nah, no more. And he started working out and doing all the things and got super fit.
He was like a female when she goes, oh my God, is that what my hair looks like in the back?
Yes.
You never know, right? He saw that photo and it was that instant. Oh,
and her boyfriend's going, no comment.
Yep. And he did great. He did great work after that. So good for him.
Yep.
All right.
So you can send that feedback to tallythefeedback@yahoo.com. You can find us on the Facebook, the Instagram, eventually someday, probably the TikTok. I'm trying to put it together. It's a busy schedule, guys.
Man, we don't know. Nobody knows
it's crazy.
I'll have that we're going to be here definitely for Big Brother.
All right. That's a good one. That feels TikTok appropriate. We're going to be back here next week. Like David said, we'll be recording on Tuesday night so that we can get right on top of that finale information. Then you don't want to worry about spoilers and stuff.
And remind the folks, Jamie, you have who?
My winner's pick is Miles officially.
That's what I'm saying. Technically on paper.
On paper, winner. It's Miles, yes.
And you still have.
I have opted not to make another one because Morgan was my pick, and I don't feel it's right to pick the week before the end.
We can't pick on the final five?
It's too close.
It doesn't feel right. I'm not going to. I wouldn't claim a victory. So
okay, so you don't get to pick a final. You don't get to pick a final pick, but you do get to pick next out.
Okay.
Next out.
Head to head.
Caitlin.
All right.
Sorry.
It's a big gamble. He's playing a Miles game right now.
No, Miles is going home. I think my winner's pick might not win the game, but I think he might be the longest one there.
Be there on the finale. I think you might be right. We'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes. And we're going to be here next week. We would like to give a special thanks and shout out to the Jay and Jack patrons, especially those who contribute at a certain level, which is Eckhart Rickner, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with the Plan, Ed the Creepy Poopy Head Mailman. And if you would like to be a patron, you can go to patreon.com/Jay and Jack. Guys, I don't know. I'm looking forward to finale night. I'm sad. Yeah. We're always so sad because we do love Australia Survivor so much and we look forward to it all year.
It's my best favorite.
And honestly, at the beginning of the season, it's always the same. It's like, oh, maybe I don't like this one as much, right? There's that little
or it's so long and nothing happens the first 2 weeks.
You're like, oh, it's that slow boil. Do you know what I mean? And then once it gets going, and then we blink and it's gone.
And then it's gone. But next week we will have crowned a winner, Brawn versus Brawn 2. And until then, everybody have a great evening, have a great week. And we'll see ya.